So there's a few teams I wanted to make a video on this season, and one of those teams is the New York Knicks. This Knicks team is extremely tough, as I'm going to show in this video. However, there's a few things I want to point out that aren't getting talked about enough, and we're going to go over that here today. If you guys enjoyed the video though, then make sure to give it a like, and if you're new to the channel, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. So last night, the New York Knicks got a huge bounce-back win over the Charlotte Hornets, winning by a score of 115-91. This Hornets team was already terrible, coming in with the 7th worst record in the entire NBA. But with LaMelo Ball injured in the Hornets' previous game, he missed last night's game and will miss a while now. And with him being the Hornets' best player, a 24-point blowout win is something this Knicks team should be capable of doing. With their win and the fact they won by more than 8 points, the Knicks have now advanced in the in-season tournament and will face the Milwaukee Bucks next Tuesday night. I definitely believe the Bucks will win that game, barring any injuries that pop up within the next week. And the Bucks did beat the Knicks back on November 3rd in an in-season tournament game. And while Julius Randle as well as the Knicks as a whole have definitely improved as a team since then, the Bucks starting lineup is decently more efficient than the Knicks starting group, as the Bucks starting lineup comes in with a positive 15.3 net rating this season, and the Knicks starting group has a positive 5.3 net rating. However, to the Knicks' credit, going from November 6th when the team beat the LA Clippers, which is when Randle began to pick up his play in my eyes as well, up until now, the team has had the 3rd best efficiency rating per game in the league, while the Bucks have had the 7th. I do think anything can happen come Tuesday night, but with the Bucks starting group being decently more efficient, I'd say bet on the Bucks, even though the Knicks do have it in them, of course, to pull up an upset victory, which wouldn't surprise me too much. Well, the Knicks starting group has been great, like I've shown. Their biggest flaw this season has been their scoring, coming in with the 5th lowest points per game average on the season, and from November 6th till now, they have the 13th lowest points per game average, still placing them in the bottom half of the league in that category. Their defense has been their strong suit though, coming in with the 5th best defensive rating for the entire season and the 8th best in the league from November 6th to now. Another thing that the Knicks have going for them is their offensive rebounding. Mitchell Robinson has been on another level this season, leading the league in offensive rebounds with his 5.8 per game. His current season average is the 9th most per game for a player in NBA history. That, along with Randle and Hartenstein both averaging over 2 offensive rebounds per game, puts the Knicks in 2nd place for offensive rebounds per game as a team and 3rd place from November 6th up until now. The grittiness and toughness of this Knicks team is definitely something that needs to be talked about a bit more, and we'll see how that helps them come playoff time and, of course, in-season tournament time come Tuesday. The only things that make me a bit suspect about the Knicks and definitely are working against them as of right now are their competition and their coach. The Knicks bench has been tremendous this season, as Immanuel Quickley definitely deserves to be in the 6th Man of the Year competition, as he's averaged the 4th most points per game of any player on the Knicks and tied Brooklyn Nets' Lonnie Walker for the most 20-point games on the bench this season last night. Dante DiVincenzo, Hartenstein, and one of my favorite role players in the league, Josh Hart, have also been extremely solid for New York this season as well. However, those are typically the only guys who come off the bench for the Knicks. I do believe an 8 or 9 man rotation is perfect come playoff time. However, we saw the Knicks deal with injuries, and more specifically, injuries to Jalen Brunson in March and April and Julius Randle's ankle injury at the end of the regular season, which limited him come playoff time and assumingly cost the Knicks a shot at making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I have to wonder how much of that is having nearly 5 of their top guys play over 30 minutes per game last season, and now 3 guys playing over 30 minutes per game this season. Thibs has definitely been known for playing guys quite a bit longer than most coaches, going all the way back to his days coaching the Chicago Bulls. So while everything could be fine for the Knicks come playoff time, health-wise and just everything else, it definitely makes me a bit nervous that an injury or fatigue could set in by the time April rolls around. Then the other thing I mentioned is their competition, and like I showed before, the Bucks starting lineup is much better than the Knicks. And on top of that, going back to my video from Monday, the Celtics starting unit has been the best in the entire NBA. We assumed the Knicks would have to face one of those 2 teams come playoff time, and I'm not sure how the Knicks would fare in playoff series against them, as their lineup is less efficient, and they're 0-2 against the Celtics, and like I just mentioned before, lost to the Bucks back on November 3rd. However, like I also mentioned in my video from Monday, while the Sixers' current lineup is one of the most efficient in the entire league, that most likely won't be their lineup come April, as they're awaiting the return of Kelly Oubre, but the Sixers lineup with Oubre is actually less efficient than the Knicks and is just inefficient in general. Another team ahead of the Knicks right now is the Orlando Magic, and while I do believe the Orlando Magic are a very tough team, they played a much easier schedule than the Knicks and still have a less efficient lineup. So with that said, this Knicks team is very efficient, tremendous on the boards, and defensively, and I do believe they should win their first round matchup depending on who they get matched up against. However, it's going to be tough for them to stop teams like Boston or Milwaukee. Is it possible? Certainly, especially if they do make a bit of a splash come trade deadline time. But as the Knicks stand right now, I think they're a very tough team and can win every night that they're healthy and on the court together. However, the fact that you can argue their most impressive win was beating a 10-8 Cavaliers team without Garland, Allen, and LeVert, and they have yet to beat a team that's currently holding a top 6 spot in their respective conference, it does make me feel a bit suspect, like I said, despite some of their impressive numbers. Their loss to the Suns the other night, who were without Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, was certainly tough, but at least they were able to come out with a fire last night and got an in-season tournament win that they needed, and hopefully they could build on that going forward. Anyway, though, let me know in the comments what you guys think about the Knicks, any players, or any topics I talked about today. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, then make sure to give it a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'm SCJ, and I am out. Peace.